Welcome, Ms. Davis and Mr. Bobb. Mr. Bobb, though, what is the Social Services Empowerment Unit?
The Services Empowerment Unit is a unit that is really focusing on a new way in which the ministry is doing business. How it is that we are getting far more responsive. If we are more efficient and effective, we are putting systems and stuff in place to try and see if we can really reach out to the people who are in a vulnerable position and help them to get back on their feet, to help them to be far more self-sufficient. So that's what it is in a nutshell. But more than that, it is about us looking and redoing a lot of things and improving a lot of the things within the ministry, such as our systems. One of the biggest parts of it is also focusing on using the ICT and to really ensure that we are able to have information and data quick and ready, and also be stored and everything to be able to supply to supply the services better to our clients. So the Social Services Empowerment Unit is, in a nutshell, a new way in which the ministry is embarking on to really be able to ensure that we serve the people, the vulnerable people, better.
Now, when you say it's a new way or a next way, that implies change. So for that, Ms. Davis, how is the ministry prepared to implement this unit? And this is from a change management perspective.
Yes, thank you for having me. The Social Services and Empowerment Unit, being the major transformative initiative of the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, quite naturally must embody the management of change. Change management being that discipline that deals with the people side of change. Project management and change management are known really as companion disciplines and really can be considered to be two peas in the same pod. In fact, for any particular project, project management tends to be more concerned with the technical aspects of the project, such as timelines, resources, resource allocations, goals, outcomes, and outputs. While change management has a more people side focus with no strict milestones or formal inflexible tasks. This is really because processes tend to change or may change at any time. And as change agents, we are always called upon to be in a place of readiness to really manage change and its impact. So the use of readiness assessments, for example, are given in our environment. So that's one. Now, each discipline can function independently, but the most effective approach is to integrate change management and project management to create a unified approach to implementing change on both fronts, technical and people side. And so all of this is simply to say that for this project, the concern will be the engagement of both the external and the internal stakeholders, or all stakeholders identified by the project document of the Social Services Empowerment Unit. From a communication standpoint, for example, the intent will be for all persons to really receive a singular message. Change management triggers will be employed to allow engagement through conversations and the use of questionnaires or surveys, focus group sensitization sessions, staff re-engagement sessions for our internal and external stakeholders in essence. So what this does, it really aids in the clear and unified messaging among all our stakeholder groups. So in addition to our clear vision as a ministry for our integrated model, other strategies for buy-in amongst us general staff body, as an example, again, includes the formulation of a ministerial champion committee to really advocate those changes being undertaken, as well as collaboration and acceptance among our business unit leaders to deliver training as content experts to our staff All of these things, of course, will aid in the adoption, the utilization, and proficiency of the new working arrangement. Um, what is also important in implementing the SSEU is relaying the understanding of the relationship among the ministry's three strategic transformative initiatives, which I think Mr. Bobb will talk about in a little bit more detail later. And these are the SSEU, the Step Up, SSU being the Social Service and Empowerment Unit, the Step Up Our Social Transformation Empowerment Program project, and of course, ISENS, the Integrated Services Enterprise Management System. What matters here is that these projects are not viewed as operating independent of each other, as they are all very much connected. So we have the overarching social services and empowerment unit, and bolstering this unit are the ministry's Step Up or Social Transformation and Empowerment Program for Uplifting People project, which really is our enhanced case management framework. And also, we have our Integrated Services Enterprise Management System, our ISEM software project, which really is that software which governs the operations of the SSEU. So in essence, the transformation of the ministry's social services delivery arm to the integrated model depicted by this unit is a significant change, as Mr. Bobb would have said, to the way our ministry conducts its business. So we as change agents understand the importance, and we are currently managing our transformative agenda through careful alignment of change management plans with the project plans of the ministry's strategic initiative.
And thank you so much for that. But Mr. Bobb, don't vex with me because I want to follow up on something that Ms. Davis said. So in the second half, you're going to ramage plenty, a little more in the second half than the first. But Ms. Davis, though, how do you juxtapose a clear vision, messaging, engaging with stakeholders with not necessarily having strict milestones or strict timelines? Because I can see some people saying, okay, well, I don't need to adopt it now because the timeline not necessarily that strict. And that being an opportunity for individuals to say, okay, well, I'll get it later. How do you marry those two?
It's really, again, it goes with communication. You know, we have, some, like, for example, I know that when we first started this particular project, this is not our first rodeo with this type of project. And so the staff was a little bit disengaged and not interested, but you know, we took a more all hands on deck approach, I think, in this next round of attempting this project, and not just that, a whole of government approach to it. So I think the staff are really encouraged not only with that, but also seeing their superiors being, you know, kind of sharing that same kind of narrative that we as change agents will be trying to met out to the staff. So it's really a lot of engagement, a lot of keeping the pulse on the staff of the ministry rest.
And we want to talk about that engagement or the process of that engagement. When we return, we are speaking with Nivea Davis and Lincoln Bobb about the change, well, not change, but the Social Services Empowerment Unit. We continue this conversation when we return. Stay with us.
The best for your baby is at thebesttoys.com. From the best strollers, car seats, baby carriers, high chairs, booster seats, rockers, jumpers and bouncers, walkers, baby blankets, feeding accessories, bathtubs, gyms and playmats, playpens, cribs, baby swings, changing tables, diaper bags, clothing and accessories, and the widest range of educational toys. We carry Infantino, Dr. Brown, Avent, Graco, Chico, Fisher-Price, VTech, Leapfrog, Disney Baby, Delta Children, Medela, and Twist Shape. Visit us in-store at Forces Flagship McLean. Shop online now at thebesttoys.com. No credit card required. Free delivery throughout Trinidad and Tobago on orders over $300. Cash or links on delivery. Order via call or WhatsApp at 332-BABY. And remember, we have the best toys at the best prices.
TTT News, delivering more news more often to more people. Follow us on social media at TTT Live Online. Log on to www.ttt.live.
Hi, and welcome to Pop, Penny on Point with profiles on persons of interest. When we looked at your credentials, Nadia, I don't think we had enough spaces in our lines to fill it in. VIP or general?
General, all day.
You see that? Yeah.
You can use Hennessy, Cavassier, anything that if you want to be fancy.
And if I want to do a rum instead?
Listen.
Welcome back. We are going in depth on the newly minted Social Services Empowerment Unit, hearing that it's an all hands on deck approach, it's an all of government approach, but take us through the incremental steps in the implementation of that unit, please, Mr. Bobb.
Well, we have different things that are running concurrently. One of the major things that we started off with is looking at some of our processes and looking to see what they actually deliver and what kind of benefits they provide for the people who are looking for that assistance or that help. What we are trying to do now is really look to see how best we can look at those processes that are already existing and try to see how we can fine tune them. I'll go back into some history. And the history will show that we had a bunch of different divisions providing different benefits to the people. And what that did is it made things a little bit more difficult to manage. We synchronized, especially focusing on data. We had some issues with data and knowing some people would have applied more than once and those type of different things. So tracking that person and their progress after they received the help was very, very difficult. So what we try to do now is really bring everything under one roof and have a strong and robust items under it that it can actually be able to deliver those things. So these first steps would have been analyzing our systems and analyzing what was happening. And the second step would have been looking at some of the processes and making it more robust. One of the major issues in this entire thing was also to find the digitalization of the ministry and how we deal and treat with data. And also we would have looked at how we look at our infrastructure, particularly in the ICT infrastructure. And we also looked at our physical infrastructure and we enhanced that because to house that process, we needed to have the infrastructure to actually support it throughout. And then we are moving into the area where Nivea and they also was very important. They're looking at the people aspect of it. How do we get people to buy in? How do we train people and to fill some of those knowledge gaps and everything? We have also looked at in trying to see how best we can get knowledge flowing into the ministry by partnering with the University of the West Indies and ensuring that that kind of information continually flows in. So those are some of the things and those are some of the steps that they're taking to really push this thing forward. I know you would have probably have spoken to the Director Kane before, who would have itemized and outlined all the different things that we would have done with the new ICT system and how that will help to bolster our efficiency and stuff. One final thing I need to add is that we are moving quickly into starting our pilot project. The pilot project is a major aspect of this. We are focusing on one rural community and one urban community. One is Tunapuna and one is Rio Claro. And we are trying to see how best we can start the pilot project so we can get that kind of information about how this thing is rolling out and the impact it is actually having on our clients and everything moving forward. So it's a lot of different things that are happening at the same time that is coming now to a point where we can launch that pilot project, get the necessary information. Once we get that necessary information from the pilot project, then we go on into rolling it out nationwide.
This really ties into what our Director Kane was talking about. And as you mentioned, yes, we would have spoken with him and really looking at the fact that there is so much that is available and accessible as opposed to saying, okay, well, this information is housed in this specific area and possibly even in a data paper-based form, as opposed to saying, okay,
Right.
well, we have access to it, so this person is able to come here, they don't need to travel all the way here. And one of the things that was suggested is that someone may apply for one distinct grant or service, but at the same time, having their information may afford them the opportunity to access more from the government's remit. Is that something that we got correctly?
Yes, but I need to mention, I know that Ms. Davis would have mentioned it before, the Step Up program, which is is a transformative program that focuses on taking people out of being vulnerable to being self-sufficient or self-reliant. The thing about the Step Up program is that it's built on 8 pillars, and what we focus on is really taking at least a maximum amount of 30 months to really be able to help people to move from being vulnerable and then move in. It will require move into being self-reliant. It will require training. It will require looking at a customized kind of benefits for that particular person, for that particular household, and try to see how best we can actually lift them out of that vulnerable state. And if we continue doing that to every single person that comes in, we don't want to have people who will be there forever, but we want people to be able to move into self-reliance. So we are trying to see how best through this ministry, we can reduce the amount of vulnerable people we have in this society.
Thank you so much. I want a one-sentence answer from you before we give the last 2 minutes to Ms. Davis. What kind of timeline are we looking for the rollout of the pilot project?
Okay, well, we are focusing on the pilot project to start at the ending of March, early April, that period of time. And we'll look at it for the 6 months because we're trying to see how best we can get as much of the information from that pilot project so that we can do further rollouts. We're hoping that everything could be actually installed and everybody will be able to have access to this thing nationwide, probably within 2 years.
Thank you so much, and you're
that
giving
is
me a long
basically what
sentence,
we are
Mr.
looking
Bobb.
at.
But managing resistance to this significant change and engaging those stakeholders, Ms. Davis, the final 2 minutes is yours.
Firstly, we need to understand that resistance to change is normal and expected with projects. The issue is not whether or not resistance will be encountered. It will be. It most certainly will be. What is important is what we do as a ministry to support impacted people or groups and how we manage this resistance to minimize the impact. So there are a number of physiological and psychological responses to change that tend to manifest in specific behaviors, some of which we know. It includes acting out, being disengaged, and building barriers, for example. What I want you to know really, Dike, is that the cost of resistance can really be there, and we are familiar with it in our own projects. One cost is really having a delayed project, inefficient processes, for example, added financial costs, and as well as unachieved goals and poor outcomes. These are things that we are all familiar with. So managing resistance to change is obviously very critical. And as such, understanding the importance of anticipating resistance coupled with mitigation tactics and integrating resistance management throughout the project lifecycle and activating roles that manage resistance become crucial, like our change agents. As I mentioned before, we have ministerial champions. And in addition to advocating change, they also aid in relaying staff concerns to us as change agents. Project sponsors, they continue to provide ongoing support, particularly where challenges are concerned, along with being active and visible, or senior leaders or business unit leaders. They encourage subordinates and disseminate and maintain our change narrative. And of course, project managers and all those people impacted, employees, all of these prove to further aid in project success and, of course, help us in managing the resistance.
Thank you so much, Change Management Officer Nivea Davis, as well as Lincoln Bobb, Development Support Unit Project Management Consultant. And we have been speaking about the Social Services Empowerment Unit, looking forward to it, especially in a time like this. And on behalf of our entire news team, I'm Dike Rostant. This has been In Depth. Thank you for joining us.
The winning numbers in the National Lottery online draws for Tuesday, 25th January 2022. At 10:30 a.m., play with number 7, Hog, Mega Ball called. Pick 2, the numbers 2 and 34 in that order. Pick 4, the numbers 4, 0, 9 and 2 in that order. At 1 p.m., play with number 24, Queen. Pick 2, the numbers 25 and 16 in that order. Pick 4, the numbers 3, 9, 1 and 1 in that order. At 4 p.m., play with number 16, Jam It, Mega Ball called. Pick 2, the numbers 33 and 6 in that order. Pick 4.